There are moments in life when we feel like we're standing on the edge of something bigger than ourselves. We don't know exactly what's coming, but we can sense it. A shift, a breakthrough, a divine move that we can't quite explain. It's that feeling deep in your spirit that whispers, something is about to change. Maybe you've been praying for something to happen, believing for a door to open, waiting for a long-awaited breakthrough. And maybe, just maybe, you've started wondering if your prayers are being heard at all. But listen closely, God is about to do a miracle in your life. And the most important thing you can do right now is be ready. The thing about miracles is that they don't always look like what we expect. They don't always arrive in the way we imagined. Sometimes they come disguised as an ending when we were hoping for a beginning. Sometimes they appear in the form of opportunities we're afraid to take, doors we never planned to walk through, or battles we didn't think we had the strength to fight. But one thing is certain. When God moves, everything changes. And He is moving right now. Even in the moments when you feel forgotten, even in the seasons when you feel stuck, even when you feel like you've been waiting forever and you're starting to question whether God even hears you anymore. He does. And not only does He hear you, but He is working behind the scenes in ways you cannot yet see. Waiting is never easy. It stretches us. It tests our faith. It forces us to sit in the tension between where we are and where we hope to be. But what if I told you that your waiting isn't wasted? What if I told you that right now, in this very moment, God is aligning things for your breakthrough? Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. Just because you don't feel it doesn't mean it's not on the way. Some of the most miraculous transformations happen in the quiet, in the unseen, in the space where we feel the most uncertain. Think about a seed buried in the ground. It looks like nothing is happening. Day after day, the soil appears unchanged. But underneath, life is stirring. Roots are forming. Growth is happening in the unseen places, long before anything breaks through the surface. The same is true for you. God's timing is perfect, even when it doesn't match our own. If you are standing in a season of waiting, I want to remind you that delay does not mean denial. Sometimes God doesn't give us what we ask for right away because He is preparing something greater. Sometimes what we think we need right now would actually limit us from the fullness of what He has planned. And sometimes the waiting is where the real work happens, where we grow, where we become, where we build a strength and faith to step into the very thing we've been praying for. The truth is, we don't always recognize our miracles when they come. Sometimes we expect them to be grand and undeniable, but often they start small, like a whisper instead of a shout. They come as a nudge in our spirit, an unexpected opportunity, a conversation that shifts everything, a closed door that redirects us to something better. And the ones who are ready, the ones who have been preparing their hearts, are the ones who step into their blessing instead of missing it. God doesn't just want to perform a miracle in your life. He wants you to be part of it. He wants you to step forward in faith even before you see the evidence. He wants you to trust that He is working even when all you see is silence. And He wants you to believe that He is for you even when the battle feels too big to win. Faith isn't just believing in miracles. It's preparing for them. It's waking up every day with expectation, even when nothing looks different. It's making room for what you've been praying for. It's choosing to trust when fear tells you to walk away. If you're praying for God to open a door, have you positioned yourself to walk through it? If you're asking God to make a way, if you're believing for a breakthrough, are you ready to let go of the things that are keeping you stuck? So many times we stand in our own way. We pray for God to move, but we're unwilling to release the things that are holding us back. We ask for change, but we refuse to step out of our comfort zone. We want a miracle, but we hold onto the very things that are keeping us from receiving it. If God is about to do a miracle in your life, will you be ready for it? Being ready means walking by faith, not by sight. It means choosing to trust even when doubt creeps in. It means refusing to let fear steal your joy. It means preparing your heart, your mind, and your life for the breakthrough you've been believing for. Sometimes the hardest part of the miracle isn't receiving it, it's making space for it. It's letting go of the mindset that tells you you're not worthy of it. It's releasing the fears that whisper, what if it doesn't happen? It's breaking free from the chains of past disappointments and daring to believe that this time things will be different. Because when God moves, nothing can stay the same. Think about the moments in your life when you felt the most hopeless, the most lost, the most uncertain. Think about the times when you thought it was over and yet somehow you made it through. That wasn't by accident. That wasn't just coincidence. That was God moving, making a way when you couldn't see one. And if he did it before, he will do it again. If he was faithful then, he is faithful now. If he turned your pain into purpose once, he will turn it into victory again. But here's the thing about miracles. They require trust. They require surrender. They require letting go of our timeline and embracing God's. We live in a world that tells us that faster is better, that we should have everything figured out, that waiting is wasted time. But God doesn't work on our schedule. He works on his. And his timing is never late. His plan is never flawed. His purpose is never without meaning. You might be standing in a season of uncertainty right now. Maybe you're looking at a mountain that feels impossible to climb. Maybe you're carrying a burden that feels too heavy to bear. Maybe you've been praying for something for so long that you're starting to lose faith that it will ever happen. But don't you dare give up now. Don't you dare let go of your faith right before your breakthrough. Don't you dare stop believing when you're this close to the miracle God has for you. Because when God moves, everything shifts. When God speaks, chains break. When God decides it's time, nothing can stand in the way. The miracle you've been praying for might not come exactly how you expect it to, but it will come exactly how you need it to. And when it does, you'll look back and see that every delay was divine. Every setback was setting you up for something greater. Every no was making room for a better yes. So what do you do in the meantime? You get ready. You wake up every day with expectancy. You pray like it's already on the way. You walk in faith even when you don't see the outcome. You refuse to let doubt take root in your heart. You let go of fear and you step forward with confidence, knowing that if God said he would do it, he will. Because the God who parted the seas is the same God who is making a way for you right now. The God who healed the sick, who raised the dead, who performed miracles then, is still in the business of performing miracles today. And you, my friend, are about to witness one in your own life. So be ready, because when God moves, everything changes. And your miracle, it's closer than you think. There are moments in life when we feel something shifting in our spirit. We may not see it yet, we may not fully understand it, but deep down we know change is coming. Something is stirring in the unseen. Something is moving beyond what our eyes can perceive. Maybe you've been waiting for a long time, praying for an answer, believing for a breakthrough, and yet nothing has happened. Maybe you've started wondering if your prayers are even being heard at all. But let me remind you, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. Just because you don't feel it doesn't mean God isn't working behind the scenes. Right now, in this very moment, a miracle is being prepared for you. And the question is, will you be ready for it when it comes? Faith and readiness open the door. Miracles don't just happen by accident. They require something from us. They require trust. They require patience. And most of all, they require a heart that is willing and ready to receive them. God doesn't just want to perform a miracle in your life. He wants you to partner with Him in the process. He wants you to prepare yourself, to position yourself, to believe even when you can't yet see the outcome. Think about the moments in your life when something amazing happened. Those times when you thought it was over and suddenly a door opened. Those moments when you thought you had nothing left and somehow you found the strength to keep going. That wasn't luck. That wasn't coincidence. That was God making a way when there was no way. That was God turning what seemed impossible into something beautiful. And He is about to do it again. But the question is, are you ready? Too often we pray for miracles, but we don't make room for them in our lives. We ask for change, but we cling to the very things that keep us stuck. We say we're ready for a breakthrough, but we refuse to step out of our comfort zone. If you're asking God to open a door, are you truly prepared to walk through it? If you're believing for a shift in your life, have you made space for it to happen? Faith isn't just about asking. It's about acting. It's about walking forward even when you don't see the full picture. It's about preparing for what you've been praying for. It's about getting ready before the miracle even arrives. Think about Noah. God told him to build an ark long before a single drop of rain ever fell. Imagine the faith it took to spend years building something for a flood that no one else believed was coming. Imagine how foolish he must have looked, how many people must have doubted him. And yet he trusted, he prepared, and when the rain finally came, he was ready. Or think about the Israelites standing before the Red Sea. They had an army chasing them from behind and an impossible body of water in front of them. In that moment, they had a choice. They could panic or they could believe. And as Moses lifted his staff, as they stepped forward in faith, the sea parted before them. What if they had given up too soon? What if Noah had decided the ark wasn't worth building? What if they had let their fear stop them from stepping into the miracle? How many times do we miss what God is trying to do in our lives because we aren't ready to receive it? How many times do we let fear, doubt, and hesitation keep us from walking into the very blessing we've been praying for? The truth is, faith and readiness go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. If you truly believe God is about to move in your life, then act like it, walk like it, prepare like it. If you've been praying for an opportunity, then start positioning yourself for it. If you've been believing for healing, then start speaking life over yourself. If you've been asking for a breakthrough, then get ready to move when the door opens. Because when God moves, everything changes. But here's the thing. Sometimes miracles don't look the way we expect them to. Sometimes they come disguised as an ending when we were hoping for a beginning. Sometimes they arrive in the form of challenges that stretch us, opportunities that scare us, or closed doors that redirect us. And if we're not ready, if we're too busy looking for what we think the miracle should look like, we might miss what God is actually trying to do. Faith means trusting even when the answer doesn't come in the way you expected. Faith means believing even when the road doesn't look like the one you had planned. Faith means knowing that God's way is always better even when you don't understand it. So let me ask you again. Are you ready for what God is about to do in your life? If the answer is yes, then start living like it. start waking up with expectation